What is going on, people, and welcome back to this channel. I've got an interesting video for you today because I'm going to test drive this Aston Martin V12 Vantage. Now, for those that don't know, I own a V8 Vantage. And it's not a comparison video, but I'm going to be comparing some aspects of this to my own car and what you should expect if you're making the jump from V8 to V12, or if you're just shopping for one and you want to know which one you're going to buy. I'm going to make some interesting comparisons on this. So let's go around the car and spot some of the differences what you see initially when you first look at it. So I think the most glaringly obvious change is you've got these vents on the bonnet. The bonnet's got quite a bit of a raise to it as well, I'm assuming to fit that shoehorned engine underneath it. And on the front here you've got a carbon fibre splitter. It obviously looks different to mine, but some of these, you know, you could retrofit this sort of stuff to your V8 Vantage if that was a deal breaker for you, but it obviously looks a lot better with all this carbon fibre additional stuff on. So then next we come around to the wheels. Now the wheels are different, these are V12 wheels. You can also see some carbon ceramic disc brakes in there, and they've got 6-pot calipers on this rather than the 4-pot. Now, carbon ceramic brakes on a road car, controversial. Some people say that they're not necessary, some people say that they are. I personally don't think they are, I don't like the squeal, but for a car that goes this quick, you're going to want to stop that quick as well. So it's probably quite important to have upgraded brakes on this sort of car. Moving down the car, you can see that the side skirt is a little bit different as well. Now there's 3 variants of side skirts to my knowledge. You've got one that is just perfectly round, you've then got the N400 or 420 series, and then the M430 and the V12 Vantage have this sort of side skirt which is a lot more square and stuck out. Now moving on to the rear of the car, obviously you've got the V12 Vantage badges, you've got a bit of a carbon fibre diffuser here, and you've also got a raised boot lip spoiler type thing. These are shorter, these aren't unique to the V12 Vantage. You know, Aston Martin did a lot of models of the Vantage and they've adopted some of these features on other cars, but you can expect to always get this spoiler on a V12 Vantage. Now then, moving on to the interior of the car, you can see we've got a little bit of carbon fibre on the doors here. You've also got the V12 Vantage plates just on the side, letting you know that you've definitely got a V12. The steering wheel is Alcantara, and although again not unique to the V12 Vantage, it does definitely give a more sporty feel, so if you are buying a more sporty Vantage then you'd probably quite like that. And probably the most glaring difference is the gear knob in the middle. That is specific for V12 Vantage, and I know some people upgrade their V8s to that. I'm not a fan of that upgrade myself, but this is an identifying feature for the V12 Vantage itself. This one's been spec'd with black leather with red stitching, which is a lovely combo. And if I were going to spec one of these cars, I think I'd pick this sort of styling. The Alcantara centre's very similar to my car, but interior-wise, there's not much difference about this to my V8. There's not much to say. I mean, like I say, the glaring difference is the gear knob. Now, probably the reason you're buying this car is a 6-litre V12 that is underneath this bonnet. Now, I do see a lot of people fit these vents to the V8, if that's what you're about, but just be aware that if you do fit these vents to your V8, there's a good chance that it's going to drip water onto, you know, important electrical components within your engine bay. So just be aware of that if you are going to buy a V8 and try and make it look a little bit like this. The first thing I notice, that starter motor's definitely got a lot more oomph to it. You can hear that turning over the engine a lot quicker than you can in mine. Of course, there's a much different sound. We've got 4 more cylinders in this one, but this one has had a decap, so if you're listening to this thinking this is what your V12 will sound like, you might have to do a little bit of work to get it to sound like this, but it does sound absolutely beautiful. And that has got much more tone than my N420 for sure. I guess when you're shopping for one of these cars, you need to kind of understand really what you want from a car. Now, if you're the kind of guy or girl that likes to have the best of everything from their car and the top spec, and you always make sure that it is the best, then I guess there's no other place to look than a V12 Vantage S. You know, you can maybe bridge the gap to AMR, but I guess you're in a whole different ballpark with that. And the AMR is a V8, so that just tells you something about the performance of those engines and why Aston Martin selected that engine. Of course, that might be restricted due to race series and the amount of cylinders you're allowed, or the volume of the engine specifically, but anytime Aston Martin tried to do a lap record attempt or achieve any sort of record, they primarily pick the V8 to do it in, which does answer a few questions. Now, do you want drivability or do you want the best thing that you can get? Now, I personally want drivability, but maybe I'm a bit biased, and you've got to watch this video understanding that I do own a V8 and I love my V8. But there is definitely something to be had about squeezing a V12 into a car of this size. And now I do know that the new Vantage is having a V12 shoehorned into it for one last time, but I can't see this sort of thing happening very much in the future at all. You know, as we're making this bridge to electric cars, this might be the last chance for you to get a classic Aston Martin with an Aston Martin engine developed by Aston Martin engineers in a car of this size, of this volume and capacity. Now there is more pull in this car, for sure. There is more pull, and I think if I were to sit here and tell you there's not more pull in, you know, something that's got almost 1.3 extra litres in it, then I'd be lying. But is there enough to warrant the extra price tag on this? And personally, from a guy that, you know, hasn't got this sort of money to throw around on a car, and if I did and this was like right at the limit of my purchasing power, I think I'd rather go for a good 4.7. Now, this, without any doubt, is going to be the collectible car of the future. So if you are investing in a car and you have an opportunity to get one of these V12 Vantages over the 4.7, and I believe that this is going to be the best investment that you're going to make. That being said, if you end up with a special 4.7 or an AMR, an M420 or an M430, then I think that would be an equal investment, and you're probably going to get a lot more drivability and more fun out of that car. But it's not going to be the V12, so I guess the ball's in your court now, and you're going to have to make that decision on what car you prefer. And again, I want to let you know that I do have a 4.7 V8, so this opinion may be biased, but I'm sat next to John McGurk, who has lots of these cars, and he has the same opinion. He prefers much more driving a 4.7 than a V12 Vantage, and he agrees that this is probably going to be the one that's going to be collectible in the future. So what do you want, an investment or the fun? Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed making it, and this has been an experience for me. Certainly comparing this with my car. If you haven't already, have a look at the link down below and see John McGurk. He's got all these cars, and you probably saw some in the background, and this one in particular has just come into his showroom. For this one, you could probably catch and buy right now. I'll catch you guys in the next video.